So for those of you who stayed till the end of last night's trading game plan, you are well aware I said that if the SPY goes below 569 is going to be overall bearish, and then we're going to drop to the following levels of 565 and 561, and the next level to auto buy calls would be at 561 for a gap close reversal. With that being said, in terms of our overall trading day, G-Roar ended up having one of his worst trading days of 2025, had a couple L's on the day, one really nice 100% plus gainer during the power hour trading session. In terms of my own personal trades, I ended up going 2 for 2 with a 100% success rate, very small wins, just quickly scalping call options in and out towards my levels. With that being said, I'm going to get straight into the new money-making game plan. So let's get straight into analysis. In terms of the overall SPY, this is what I want you to be aware of. Right now, we are currently in terms of the overall pattern and setup, we are currently seeing a red, green, red daily chart pattern on the SPY. Last time this red, green, red pattern ended up forming, the SPY started to top out and have an overall bearish trend day if it started to top slightly above the previous closing price. So in terms of last time, it ended up topping about 2 points above the previous closing price. So heading into tomorrow, as you can see right now, we ended up closing at 560.58. Right now, we are currently gapping up to 561.72. In terms of a bearish scenario, if the SPY is gapping up, this is what would need to occur. You would need to see strong bearish 30-minute candlestick confirmations with lots of resistance, ideally, a very strong bearish pattern on the 30-minute chart, or 1 to 2 hours of major resistance in between that range towards one of these levels, right? So in terms of measuring the overall move with that daily chart pattern, the first level to watch for in terms of a potential drop, if you're seeing the confirmations, would be a little bit above 2 points above the previous closing price. So you can keep an eye on this overall zone. I'm going to be using the 1 minute chart to show you some breakdown and retest levels. There was support right here towards 561.80. That's going to be the first level of interest to watch for. If that starts to react bearish, then the bears are going to start to gain control. In terms of some higher breakdown and retest levels, right? 562.59, some support right here started to sell off, and then some support right here towards 563.30. And then in terms of the higher levels, you can keep your eyes on 564.50 and 566.10. In terms of measuring overall moves and making these videos a night before it advance, is going to be a bit more difficult in terms of current market conditions because the moves are so massive and we are experiencing such massive volatile moves with massive gap ups, massive gap downs, and then also massive moves throughout the pre-market. So you have to be aware of that in market open as well, right? Just wanted to bring some understanding to that, right? But the first level would be towards 562, and then I gave you a couple other levels. So in terms of an overall trading and game plan, you can look for strong bearish confirmations at one of those levels I gave you. If you're seeing the perfect confirmation, and ideally give it some time, 1 to 2 hours of major resistance at one of those levels, you can try put options. But in terms of measuring the overall move, basically for the bears to be in control heading into tomorrow, we would need to stay below 563. If we are staying under 563, the bears are going to try to take control throughout the day. And another key level of interest where it could be a bit more simpler to trade. So you can think about it like this, man. The higher levels is going to be a bit more difficult in terms of attempting to buy put options. And there could be a break of trend with the higher levels that I gave you above like 563. So just understand, man, in terms of measuring the overall move, if we are maintaining below 563, it's going to be an overall bearish trend day. If we are going above that, it's a slight break of trend, but it can potentially not be a break of trend because, again, the moves are just so massive in terms of measuring those overall moves. So just be very picky and strategic if you go with those higher levels because there could be a break of trend in terms of 564 and then the 566, the other levels I gave you, right? Use the best confirmations if you try puts at those overall levels. But this is what I mainly want you to understand, man. If we're below 563, overall bearish, right? But in terms of the safe way, more safe to be bearish, right? So if you go with the upper levels in resistance, I'm telling you to use the best confirmations possible if you're doing put options because it could potentially be a bullish trend day. But if we're just maintaining below 563, and we go under the previous closing price, that would be a very easy play, in my opinion, in terms of the easy money as well. But again, another easy play can be if we get the perfect confirmations. But in terms of without those confirmations, if we're just staying below 563 and we go under 560, market's going to sell off. If we are going under the previous closing price and we are maintaining below 563, we are going to see a very bearish move heading into tomorrow. So if we go under previous closing price, the next level that we're going to be dropping to is going to be the following. So in terms of the next overall level is going to be right here towards 560. Next level below that is going to be 557 to 556. Phenomenal levels to be buying calls would be 556 to 555 in terms of oversold levels, right? If we were to go under 554, looking at the overall daily chart in terms of the next levels below 554, the next level would be right here towards this overall 550 range, low 550s. That's the overall ladder. Now, in terms of this overall daily chart pattern, like I said, when this red daily candlestick right here looked like this red daily candlestick, very similar with the red, green, red pattern, as long as we are maintaining below 563 and we are going under previous closing price, focus on puts. If that's not occurring, there's a break of trend. And if you attempt to put, understand you're in a break of trend direction. And if you're trading in a break of trend zone, especially on puts, you need to be using the best confirmations fucking possible. The easy play would be bearish confirmations towards 563 or slightly above, and then crack below previous closing price, try puts under previous closing price. That could be the easiest play. Easiest play on puts can truly be if we're just maintaining below 563 and then we start to drop under previous closing price. That'd be one of the best plays. Now, in terms of a daily candlestick that I am potentially seeing in break of trend, man, this is what I want you to understand. So in terms of the bulls, since we are currently, attempting to have this gap up here, what would really need to happen is we would need to form support above this 563. If we're breaking above 563, forming strong support, the next main level is going to be this 566. We break above 566. Next level is going to be 569. We break above 570. Next level above 569 is going to be 571. Next level above 571 is going to be 573.70. So in terms of bullish scenario, it mainly has to stay above 563. If we're holding above 563, SPY's going to try to attempt to have a bullish run to 566 to 500 and overall 70 overall range, right? So as long as we are maintaining strong support, a solid floor above 563, you can attempt calls at the higher levels if the confirmation is there at 563. Just to understand, in terms of mainly being bearish, 563 and below is mainly bearish, and then the only levels you can really look to consider calls if we are reacting bearish, maintaining under 563, would be 560, 554, and 550, right? So that's what I just wanted to understand, man. Just to understand, if we're pushing above 563, there's a clear break of trend where bulls are taking control. If you see at one of the higher levels, a perfect confirmation, you could try puts, but it's not ideal. The more ideal situation is if we're pushing above 563 is to use the break and retest strategy on call options, because based off of what I'm seeing, market's really only going to be bearish if we are maintaining under 563. Overall, if we're gapping up and maintaining above 563, overall trend is going to be bullish. There could be some small pullbacks at the levels I gave you, and if you're seeing the perfect confirmation, you could try to scalp against that overall break of trend. But overall, if we're gapping up and we are maintaining above 563, if we are maintaining above previous closing price, but mainly 563, bullish trend day, break and retest, look for 2-point moves above the breakouts. So if you're seeing heading tomorrow, we have this strong solid floor at 563. Next level is 566. Next level is 569 to 570, right? You're seeing that strong support, 563. This is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be looking for breakout levels. And I gave you the levels, man. So you can look at, right here, I gave you some levels, 562.50, 563.30, 564.70, and 566. Those are the levels. If you're seeing 1.5 to 2-point plus breakouts above those levels, and we're maintained above 563, and we drop back down to one of those levels to retest, buy call options on the retest of that overall level. So that is the game plan. Heading into tomorrow, make sure, it's very, very crucial, man, that you wait for the breakout and then the retest and then the confirmation when you're doing the call options. In terms of the puts, wait for the breakdown, wait for the retest, short the lower highs. Calls, breakdown, retest, buy the higher support. Use the levels, use the game plan, use the confirmations on the 30-minute chart, the curriculum that I've been teaching you, and you should do phenomenal, man. Break and retest, you're looking for floors, you're looking for the bullish 30-minute pins, you're looking for the bullish 30-minute candlestick patterns, right? Breakdown, retest, you're looking for a crack below support, spike back up, lower highs, resistance, and give it some time. Give things some time, right? You can give it like an hour to 2 hours in between that range. Give it the perfect confirmations on the 30-minute chart. I'm very confident if you use this information heading into tomorrow, all of us should have a phenomenal green day, man. I'm telling you, we're setting up for a fairly predictable day. And just understand in terms of break of trend, where bulls really take control would be if we're just pushing and maintaining about 563. In terms of bearish tomorrow, need to stay under 563. If not, main focus is calls. If you see a quick confirmation to scalp puts, it has to be a perfect fucking confirmation. You could try scalp puts against break of trend. Just be fucking careful, because in terms of this daily chart, what it is telling me is if we are gapping up and holding above 563, it's going to be a strong bullish trend day. And the main focus for puts would only be if we are staying under 563. And then a great opportunity for puts would be if we go under the previous closing price. So that's what you need to understand, man. The SPY, if we're holding above 563, we're going to start to shoot the fuck up to fucking 576 within time this week. That's the overall game plan. That's the fucking levels, man. For bulls to show up and gain fucking control, they need to hold above 563. For the bears to show up and gain control of the day, they need to stay under 563 and go under the previous fucking closing price. That's the overall game plan, right? In terms of tomorrow, since the market is so volatile and what I'm seeing with the daily chart patterns, I really don't care if we're dropping under the previous closing price and the bulls are holding that. I don't care too much. I care more about the slightly higher level for bulls. So heading into tomorrow, man, what I care about is that if we're holding above 563, I'm fucking bullish. If we're maintaining below 563 and we're going under previous closing price, I'm very fucking bearish. If we're maintaining below 563 and we go to previous closing price, I'm not too interested in calls. Much rather would just wait, if we're maintaining below 563, for a drop under the previous fucking closing price to buy those put options. That is the game plan. Use this information. You're going to be printing money at the speed of light heading into tomorrow. Short, simple, and sweet. That's the overall game plan. That's how to trade both ways. That's the trade ideas I have for you. Use the curriculum. Be patient. Wait to trade the best setups at the best fucking prices. So, in terms of our overall trades, man, like I said, I went 2 for 2. These were like the smallest wins of the year, man. These were literally like quick 25 to 30% wins on calls. I went 2 for 2. In terms of GWAR's overall trades collectively as a whole, it was basically a red day, man. So in terms of, the overall trades, it was a couple L's in a row. And then we had a really nice trade during the power hour trading session. Power hour trading session, at 561 calls for 65 cents. That quickly went to 143 cents, right? 562 SPY calls, 68 cents, quickly went to 130 cents. So the power hour trading session was phenomenal, and we had 2 100% profit returns. In terms of before that, it was a couple L's. In terms of my trades, it was 2 small wins. Really not too much to go over in terms of, overall today. I mean, in terms of just giving you quick market analysis, if you watched last night's game plan, I explained to you, in terms of the levels, 569, we had this gap. Right here. The gap was towards 569, mid 569 to 568 zone. There was 2 gaps that were overall waiting to fill below for the reversal, right? There was an overall gap close reversal zone. But the main level was like 569. Made it very clear, man. That was even a potential auto buy level for calls, but the level below that was an auto buy level as well, which was 561. Level in between 565 was not interesting calls there. But 569, this 569 was the main level. Now, looking at the 30-minute chart, you should have seen that this is support at 569. and it's reacting bullish. But when it spikes, it's forming lower highs. This is your previous support right here at 571. It cracks. It bottoms at the key level. So in terms of scalping, it did work, but it happened during the pre-market. But in terms of what gave it away for bearish situations, because I made it very clear, if we go under 569, it's going to be bearish to 565 to 561. We had the lower highs. If you're seeing hours of resistance and then a red, green, red, I talk about this all the time. Red, green, red is bearish and it's forming at the previous support. Breakdown, retest, lower highs, red, green, red is bearish. Use this curriculum on the levels I'm giving you with the game plans. This is support. This is a breakdown where it cracks support. That's the inverse of the break and retest. This is a spike. This is the lower highs. It retests the previous support, red, green, red, resistance for 2 fucking hours, lower highs, starts to sell off. That's bearish. That means that that's bearish and it's going to try to take out this new bounce level, this new support at 569. And then you can see it form the same exact pattern heading into market open. We had a crack of 569, red, green, red, red, 2 hours of fucking resistance. We're no longer spiking back to 571.50. We're now forming more new lower highs. So heading into the market open, man, nobody should have been in on call options if you watched last night's game plan. I told you, if we go under 569, we're going to 565 to 561. Next level to auto buy calls at 561. If you looked at the pre-market with a basic understanding of the curriculum I teach you that works, you should have said, oh, this is a breakdown. This is a retest. These are lower highs. Red, green, red is bearish. We have all this fucking resistance for multiple fucking hours. Of course it's going to fucking sell off. New lower highs, red, green, red, sells off. Red, green, red, sells off. It's like, dude, how many fucking times is this pattern going to fucking work, man? But you have to use it at the levels with the breakdown, retest. Support, breakdown, retest, red, green, red, right? And then the same fucking pattern right here, red, green, red, forming lower highs at this previous support in the 30-minute candle, starts to sell off. Same pattern right here, red, green, red, forming a new roof, a new ceiling, a new resistance at this previous support, new roof. These are all fucking reasons to be bearish in terms of going 569, right? So that was my reasoning in terms of not buying call options at the market open. I mean, we have red, green, red, 2 hours of fucking lower highs with all these bearish 30-minute candlestick confirmations. There's no fucking reason to be buying calls. And then if you look again, it's like, dude, the patterns I fucking teach you print at the speed of fucking light. Look at this. You have more support right here. It cracks the support, red, green, red. If you're seeing red, green, red, if you're seeing major resistance on a breakdown below support for 1 to 2 fucking hours, buy the fucking puts, man. All these fucking lower highs. Now, in terms of calls, this is a very bullish trend reversal pattern. You can screenshot this if you like. Save this, man. If you're seeing this red candlestick like this and this green candlestick like this is very bullish. Another reason why it's more bullish as well, when you have all these slanted red 30-minute candlesticks in a row, it can potentially have a reversal after the 90-minute mark. But this right here is a very bullish trend reversal 30-minute candlestick pattern right here, right? And in terms of the next auto buy level, the next auto buy level was at 561. So I had a trade earlier on calls. It was just a quick small win where they went up from like 170 to 220. In terms of this overall pattern, look at this. Look for the W's as well. This W moved right here, very, very bullish, V-shaped recovery. But in terms of the 561 level, if you take a look at the 561, excuse me, that was from previous day. This right here, the V-shaped recovery, W as well is very bullish. But in terms of how we reacted at the 561 level on the initial retest, right? Because if you go back throughout the daily chart, we had a gap to fill at 561. It worked. This is when we first tested 561. And in terms of 569, in terms of scalping, so the overall trend was bearish. And I told you, overall trend is going to be bearish if we are under 569. If you clearly watched the video to the end, it clearly said bearish trend day if we go under 569. Now, you can still scalp calls on a bearish trend day. It's just not the best thing to do. But at certain levels, if timed right, especially towards the close, you can make crazy returns on SPY and SPX. But the point is, in terms of scalping, 569 worked in the pre-market. And then in terms of normal trading hours, if you looked at the fucking 30-minute chart, there was no reason to try it again because it formed lower highs with the red, green, red, plus it already worked, so it's not as special. But 561 worked. I hit calls automatically at this level. As soon as we hit 561s, we quickly went to 563. That was a phenomenal scalp I had, and I didn't even have to alert it because I told the team in advance, as soon as we drop to this level, I'm buying the fucking calls. Self-sufficiency. On auto buy levels, I don't even have to alert the trades in a sense. The only reason I would need to alert is if I decide that it's no longer an auto buy level once we start approaching it, right? So just keep that in mind. So in terms of that trade, that was fucking phenomenal on the overall call options where 561 work. If you watched last night's video, it was very clear that the levels 569 under that bearish trend day. Next level is going to be 565, 566. Next level is going to be 561. And then we had the oversold gap that was waiting to fill at 561. So the gap close reversal trading strategy did work. You can see we had all the support right here at 561. We had the gap that was waiting to fill below at 561.40. And as soon as we closed that gap, the SPY had a quick 2-point reversal where you could have made a phenomenal return on those call options. And we hit that. So in terms of my own trading, it was 2 for 2. The wins were fairly small. The trade on 561 was a lot better. I mean, I would hope that everyone automatically bought calls at 561 because that was just fucking common sense. And if you looked at the 30-minute fucking chart, there is absolutely no fucking reason, if you use the fucking curriculum that I fucking teach, on why you should have bought calls at 569. We spiked at the level, it worked in a pre-market, and then we formed lower highs, and then we started to drop below with 2 hours of resistance at red, green, fucking red. And I made it very clear, if we go into 569, it's a bearish trend day. So with all that fucking curriculum that the market gave us from a technical view, if you bought fucking calls at 569, you genuinely deserve to be fucking red, man. Especially with this opportunity, even if you fucking took them. 561 was a phenomenal fucking level that we hit to buy call options that I hit, man. Like I said, as soon as we hit 561, and the key to doing this is the first time. The first time the level hits is the best fucking time to get in, man. Because people don't expect it. People don't expect it. There's lack of preparation. It tends to work best on the first time. If you do it the second time, you need the best confirmations. But in terms of an auto buy level, you just hit them. You hit the auto buy levels. I told you in the video, 561. As soon as we fucking hit 561, we spiked up into the 563s, man. As soon as we dropped to 561 and closed that gap, we had an instant reversal where within minutes, look at this, the level didn't hold that long. You had 3 fucking minutes. It's called an auto buy level for a fucking reason. When it hits that fucking level, it's going to go up automatically like fucking crazy when it works. 561.40 all the way to 563 within fucking minutes. We hit that for calls, man. So if you use the game plan, you should have been green. If you use the curriculum, you should have been green. I'm telling you, man, you have to learn how to trade both ways. Use the confirmations, use the breakdown and retest, and then 30-minute candlestick patterns. Is it forming resistance for 1 to 2 hours? Is it forming the lower highs? Is it forming red, green, red patterns? And then breakout and retest, green, red, green. Is it forming support for 1 to 2 hours? Use the confirmations. If you apply what it is that I'm teaching you in the pre-market, in the market open, during normal trade hours, wait for the best steps, the best prices, you should be fucking printing at the speed of light. So that was the overall market recap on the day. Now, for those of you who are serious about trading alongside with us and gaining access to our secured private organization, it's going to be the first link down below within the description in terms of what you gain access to. You gain access to our trading community where you can surround yourself with our network of multimillionaires. You can chat and trade alongside them. G-Roar is extremely active within the community, and he's the lead trader of Team Roar, right? So you can, chat with him and ask him questions as well. And you get access to a real-time zero-date options trade alert system. So you gain access to, in terms of my trades, you also gain access to G-Roar's trades, and this is a real-time zero-date options trade alert system. You gain access to a market open game plan with key levels of interest of where to go long, where to go short, where to lead you in the overall right direction, and then you get to see us trade our game plans in real time within the chat. And in terms of risk management 101, if you like, you can take a quick screenshot of that. But like I said, man, it's a real-time zero-date options trade alert system. So just to give you some quick background to it, in terms of the overall system, it is designed for you to trade alongside us, learn how to trade, grow your portfolio, and consistently make money over time. Obviously, our format is not going to work out for every trader, but it works out for many traders who are consistently making $500 to $1,000 a day. Like I said, we have many consistent faces. DF, $1,400 profit on the day nearly. Nick is back at it again, $3,000 profit on the day. Absolutely fucking crushing it. He's up over $46,000 in the past month trading alongside us with options, man. So in terms of the system, very, very simple. We buy cheap, low risk, zero date options. They expire the same day, zero date options, right? Very, very cheap, very, very low risk, and they give you the biggest percentage gains. In terms of our position sizing, risk management 101, we put in our entire position size as our max risk per trade. So our R multiple is our max risk per trade. Therefore, we don't need a stop loss because the most we lose is what we put in and the most we're willing to risk is what we put in, right? So if the contracts expire worthless and go to zero, the most we lose is what we put in, which is our max risk per trade. We do not use stop losses. We have the entire day for the contracts to go green enough to set a profit stop, which means if the contracts go up 15% plus, we set a profit stop so to ensure that we don't go green to red on the trade. We move the profit stop up higher to ensure that it protects the bulk of our gains if the market has a move against us, right? And then in terms of one of the ways that we increase winnings is by adding to winners. We rarely add to losers. What tends to work best for us is adding to winners. When we're up a little bit, 5, 10, 15, 20%, we like to quickly add to winners and then set that profit stop to protect our new risk added on into that position, right? One greater winning move in our favor secures that extra risk with the profit stop. And like I said, another reason why we add to winners is when we win, we tend to win fucking big, man. I mean, in terms of winning big, you could just see, look at how fast these trades were printing during power hour. Like I said, before this, it was like 3 L's in terms of the trades that G-Wars gave out. And then I had two small wins on calls. You could have made a lot on the 561 trade. On the 561, when we hit 561 and the auto buy was there for calls, you could have fucking killed it, man. I mean, just watching the video alone. But in terms of power hour, look at how fast the trades were printing. 562 SPY calls for 68 cents a contract, and they quickly went to 135, man. Look at that, 135 cents. These option quote prices are all moving in real-time timestamps. These are the quotes moving, right? It's fucking phenomenal. And then you can see right here, set the profit stops at 3:35 p.m. when they're at 1:30, 70 to 1:30. Contracts went up 90% plus at the speed of fucking light, right? On those overall calls, 68 cents to 135 cents, man. And then these 561 SPY calls, 65 cents to to 103 cents, 143 cents. That's back-to-back 100% gainers. So like I said, this wasn't our best day because we did have a couple L's in the morning, which all could have been prevented if you used the curriculum and the game plan that I gave out. But power hour was fucking phenomenal. The auto buy level at 561 was fucking phenomenal. If you did auto buy calls at 569, you're not using the curriculum and you're just blindly buying into an auto buy. But even if you did take an L at 569 on calls, you could have easily made it all back and more at 561 because it was a massive 2-point move. And if you can't figure out how to be successful trading 0-day options on a 50% win rate, then trading is just not for you, man. So, I mean, you could have potentially had an overall nice day today. I mean, it certainly wasn't our best trading day, but with the game plans were fairly accurate if you applied the curriculum with the game plans, right? Now, just to give you some more background to the 0-day options trading alert system. So, in terms of losses, when we are down on a play, it's called a dead play. When a play drops 50% plus on a 0-day option, we call that a dead play. We don't add to losers. What we do is we hold the trade. Since we're trading the trend, it tends to come back to life and it tends to go green. 70% of the time, when we are down 50% plus, 70% plus, even 80% plus, our trades come back to life and they go green, sometimes even in the money, not that they need to go in the money, right? And when we're also down on a play, one thing we do is sometimes we buy a second strike. Instead of adding to a loser, if we want to, get in, instead of adding to that loser, we buy a second strike. Second strike is even cheaper, more lower risk, and it gives you even bigger percentage gains because it's likely going to be timed a lot more accurate, because I'm telling you, man, we rarely have 2 losses in a row. I mean, we never have 3 losses in a row. So, I mean, man, in terms of that, like if we had 2 losses in a row, I would just size bigger on the third trade, right? If we have a dead play that didn't work out, I'd size in a little bit bigger on the next play if it's on the same direction of that previous trade, because it's very, very wrong in terms of strikes that were like wrong twice in a row. Very, very rare. I mean, especially 3 times in a row, that like never happens. But just giving you some, information that you can use to apply with this overall trading system, in terms of what I've experienced and observed along the program as well, right? So is the first link down below within the description. If you do want to trade alongside us and gain access to our secure private organizations, like I said, secure private organization, you gain access to all of our real-time 0-day options trading alerts, right? And like I said, man, adding to winners, look, adding to overall calls and situations, right? I mean, that was just a small overall scalp. Could have made a quick win, but overall that wasn't the best trade. But we tend to focus on adding to winners. Sometimes when we add, it's not going to work out, but set the profit stops, man. Profit stops is going to protect your overall average cost. If you quickly add into the winners, it's not going to be a big difference in the overall average cost, right? So just wanted to bring some awareness to all that in terms of our style of trading and what we do. We have over decades of experience, and G-Roar is a multi-millionaire as well. In terms of gaining access to our secure private organization, once you do sign up to Team Roar, it's the first link down below within the description. You gain instant access right within the WAP.com. You go into your account settings, you go into your product access, you claim your product access, you connect your Discord to it, and you gain access in terms of, like I said, a real-time zero-day option trade alert system where you can turn on push notifications to your mobile and desktop device, and you gain access to our community where you can trade alongside multimillionaires, ask them questions, right? Network with people in the community, right? And you can post your profits alongside members. So if you do want to start today, it's the first link down below within the description. This is the best time to get started. The market is on absolute fire. With that being said, I'm going to be signing off, headed back to my secure private organization. In terms of tomorrow, man, this is going to be a crazy fucking level as well to watch. 566, like I said, man, once we go above 566, that's when that gap is going to start to fucking fill, man. So into this week, keep that in mind, man. If we're holding above 563, and once we go above 566, massive fucking move. Once you see a floor above 566, if it happens this week, massive fucking move very, very quickly to fill the gap. There's a gap to fill at 576, and then that's where I want to buy those fucking puts. Previous support right here to react as a resistance, breakdown, retest, gap, close reversal, 576. Once 566 reacts to support, super fucking bullish move with big upside potential. But if it decides to react as a resistance first, you can attempt a quick scalp on puts against the overall trend, because if we're holding above 563, very fucking bullish, right? So if you did want to try puts, even if we're bullish, if you're seeing some resistance at 566 or even 568 to 569 range with some resistance, you could try. Best fucking level though is going to be 576. Another interesting level that I'll be watching is this 573. 573 breakdown and retest. Very interesting level to look at puts at. This one kind of already played out, but hasn't been tested during normal trading hours, 571. So I mean, for those of you who stay to the end, you do get some bonus information as well. But like I said, man, use the game plan. Be self-sufficient. Print money at the speed of light. I mean, you should be making more than enough money before you even join, our community and gain access to our zero-day option trading alert system, if that is something, that you are interested in. But at the end of the day, I give you the opportunity to become self-sufficient. I give you the best trading plans. If you apply the curriculum that I teach you at the levels, you should be doing phenomenal, man. So with that being said, use this information to your advantage. And then if you like, you can trade alongside us, try out our community, try trading alongside us, gain access to our zero-day option trading alert system if you like. With that being said, I'm going to be signing off.